Hello, everybody. This is Margaret. Thanks for stopping by my channel. You're on BookTube. So, what's happening? I started the chat early. I tried to seed it a little early for this December TBR business we're doing here. I was calling it TBR, Pile of Possibilities, List of Suggestions, because we're being very loosey-goosey this month, and that is A-okay. So join me in the loosey-goosiness. So it is December 5th, so we're a little bit into the month, and I'm going to share with you what I'm currently reading as well as what's on the to be read. Hey, Nana, I knew you'd be first. What goes into your decision not to write first! Exclamation point, like so many others who do when they're first in the chat, I wonder. Could it be some maturity? I don't know. I do first every once in a while just because it's fun. Teacup the storyteller. Hello. Becky says, I made it on time finally. What is on time? I think whenever you arrive is on time because that's wizard time, right? Am I right? Yay. So welcome. My to be read list in December. Well, I wanted to start with the ones that I've already started, if that makes sense. But first also say the things that I'm meaning to do for a while and have not managed to put on screen. So Katya Weiner, when you read this, when you watch this, How the Post Office Created America by Winifred Gallagher is the book that I referred to that you were like, is that the map book about the post office, something, and it's not. This is the one I was referring to. So I don't know if the UK has a different color cover, but this is from like a month ago. So sorry I took so long to clarify that. That looks really good. Winifred Gallagher is a favorite author. She does sociology, urban planning, psychology of places, and really, really cool stuff. So just to put that out on the horizon. So that's checked off my to-do list. The other thing is that I had a karaoke session a few nights ago, and it was super fun. We had lots of flailing and wailing and mistakes and figuring out how to do this on StreamYard, which was perfect because it was just testing it out. But if anyone is interested in participating in the next karaoke with our AuthorTube, BookTube community, put it in the comments, and I will definitely send you the link to join on the StreamYard side. I think we've got it mainly figured out, but you know, practice makes progress. So help us out next time. It'll be fun. Lana is here. Hello, Lana. Love your hair and necklace. Thank you. This is just a poof. This is just wet hair being poofy. So I just squatted it down. And the necklace is a gift from Irish cousins from like 2005. So if I have a good thing, I keep it like a dragon hoarding gold, dare I say it. And the other thing I was going to say with Ketchup is that I had some really cool group collabs lately. And since Lana is here, I'll put these in now. So yesterday, actually, this is my third day of going live, we had a Tolkien cook-along on Lana's channel. So definitely go check Lana Ex Libris out. And we made cookies, and I still have like 24 left, even after the holiday party. They're 10-cup Ranger cookies, and we all recommend the recipe, but in varying variations. So pick your aerobics level, and there will be a cookie recipe that's right for you. But it was Tolkien themed, and we had a quiz for each other, and it was super fun. So we just did that yesterday. So I encourage you to go watch that because it was really fun, and we had lots of laughs. It was Lana and Rosie Cockshut and Amy from Potato Brarian and myself. And so we were just having a blast. Lana says, I'm so full after eating all the cookies. Whew. Yes, they're filling. They're for rangers in the north, in the wild. Oh, Richard is here. Richard Holiday, welcome. Who mentioned cookies? Well, you may know them as biscuits, but we call them drop cookies here, and they're from Lord of the Rings. So fancy that. They have everything but the kitchen sink, and you only need one measuring cup, so it's great for rangers in the wild. But go check out Lana's channel. This is the video, and it's super cool. The other one I wanted to point out, a past show that was really cool, collaboration, was Joe Compton's channel, Go Indie Now. He often drops by and says hello. He's super busy. He's doing film, he's doing music, he's doing writing, and like supporting a lot of different people in different indie industries. So go Joe. This is Last Week in Indies. This is the show that I was on that JD hosted, and I think there was like 5 or 6 of us, and we just had a nice time being thankful, meditating, laughing, being inappropriate. You want to watch that. So I just thought I'd point these 2 out because these people were gracious enough to invite me on their channels, and we had lots of fun. So it would be fun to watch. All right, am I caught up? I got the post office book. I got the past collabs. I've got the karaoke invitation. And yes, we're good to go. Okay, so what do I have to read in December? I've got a couple buddy reads going on, so I will point those out first. One I have started and one I have not. Segu by Maryse Condé. So she is a person who writes in French. This is translated literature as well. And this is a West African saga starting at the advent of the white man coming to this empire in West Africa. Powerful novel and the men and women who determined its fate. So very cool. And this is like an older copy and a big chunker, but it's just very engaging. And I'm getting a little bit of the sense of translation. So it's interesting where you can sort of see the screen through which you are looking, which is good food for thought for the reading experience. But yeah, there's lots of political stuff. There's lots of cultural stuff. There's great detail. There's a lot of characters so far. I'm getting a little dizzy, but it's good. I'm not too far in. I'm reading this with Bria. So I don't know if Bria will see this. We haven't connected too much on it, but she said she's reading it. And we're going to continue, I think, till mid-December. Hopefully finish this before I go down to California. So first buddy read. Let's see where I'm going to stack these up. The second one I haven't started yet, so I won't mention it. The other books I'm currently reading. Let's put that up. Doop. Look at this fun banner. Okay. I started Mediocre. I finally got a copy of this book by Ijeoma Oluo. This is, see their subtitle, The Dangerous Legacy of White Male America. So basically, it's expounding upon the quote, "Lord, give me the confidence of a mediocre white man." And I just say that to say a lot of people have worked really hard to get to the place where mediocre white men in America often take for granted that is their just desserts. And so this is sort of taking apart that quote and investigating reasons behind this, historical roots of it, and also current trends. So it's interesting. It's not a happy read, but yeah, good one. And I got this at Third Eye Books and Gifts in Portland, which is a Black-owned bookstore, on the day before Thanksgiving, which was just fun. So I guess I'm going to remember that. So I'm not very far on that one either. I'm doing the thing where I read a little bit of each one each day instead of like engrossing myself in one. Nia is here, Vixen of Fiction. Hello, hello. I'm sure you're popping between sprints, so thanks for stopping by. Here's another book that I'm currently reading, Scythe by Neil Shusterman, the first of a series, and it gets bigger as it goes on. It's pretty good. I'm reading at a pretty good clip. There's like 3 different storylines going, and this is also making me a little, what do I focus on kind of thing, but very interesting. I got this from my friend Meg Perry, and yeah. There's an obvious way I think this might go, and I'm not very good at predictions, so I'm wondering if there's more to it. I really like Neil Shusterman's Dry. I give it 5-star for a young adult read like a year and a half ago. So this is the first one I've read since then, and I'm seeing some hiccups in the language and the structure, but I'm still hopeful it'll be really good plot-wise. So we'll see where that goes. And we got Orchard, A Year in England's Eden. So this is Benedict MacDonald and Nicholas Gates. Basically, it's talking about the environment of the orchard. And so far, I've gotten through the history of orchards and how they got to England and the situations that created them and enabled them to continue and how scarce they are now. There's a lot of how scarce they are now, how scarce they are now, as well as how many life systems they prop up. So, like, there's that much of it. And now we're finally getting into like the year in an orchard where I just finished January and we're talking about what they see, what this guy, two people actually observe in their research in the orchard that they're in near the Wyre Forest, Wyre. So really interesting, like natural meditation on an ecosystem that I'm not familiar with, but sounds very romantic and in need of help. So thought that'd be a good one. So far we've got historical fiction, nonfiction, fantasy, and nonfiction. So November nonfiction continues. What can I say? Oh, catching up. Lana, I did not expect you to read Scythe. Excited to hear how you end up liking it. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I really love Dry, and this concept sounds really good. So who knows? Nia saying, actually just here at the moment, had lunch with the hubby, and now I'm editing while listening to your TBR. Hooray! I don't know how you can do that. Editing is like so hard for me to concentrate on. So well done. Richard is saying, how do you read multiple books simultaneously? Well, you see, you pick one up, you open it, you have a bookmark, and then you read, and then you close it, and then you go to the next one. I mean, it's a fair question. I don't date like this, so I guess I could be similarly incredulous as to people who date like that. But anyway, okay, so with the Nonfiction November continuing, I am still reading this from Nonfiction November. What would Jane say? So this is, for those who don't know, Janet Metzger's book on the differences between Jane Addams, historical figure in Chicago's community, and the settlement movement. Richard, if you know about Toynbee Hall and that sort of history in London, she was the first person who brought a settlement house like that to the US and started in Chicago. Her vision from building up the city and solving the ills of the city that were developing along with industrialization was very different from the one who ended up winning the popularity contest in Chicago, which was Daniel Burnham, who was the architect for the World's Fair of 1893 in Chicago, which is very famous in literature and elsewhere. And so this is basically, I'm that far through, so maybe between a quarter and a third, and I'm just getting past all the early commentary to the imagined conversations and meetings between members that existed here at this time that are just like, it's a very weird concept, and this is why this is an academic book, I guess. But it's like people meeting to talk about, oh, well, we saw the plan for 1909. What do you think about it? Well, it doesn't cover this, but this is a really good idea. Like imagining city planning meetings, which, fair, you may say is really boring sounding, but for someone who is researching this for the book I'm writing, I thought it'd be a good resource. And now I'm finally getting to the parts that are talking about the imagined conversations. So bit of a leap, bit different, very original. And yeah, so we're keeping going through that. I got that on my trip to Chicago. This is one I have not really gotten to. I've been picking and choosing. Out to Work. This is a library book, The History of Wage Earning Women in the United States. I've like looked in the index and looked up specific things, so I haven't like tried to read through it, but I will do and return it to the library before I go down to California because I don't want to deprive someone of the opportunity to read this for 2 months while I'm down there. So there you go. Out to Work from Nonfiction November. Gem of Books is here. Hello. She says, orchard sounds interesting. I work in agriculture, so I'd find it really interesting. Yeah, they're dropping names of all these insects and invertebrates and butterflies and birds, like all these names of birds that I've never heard of, like the missel thrush and the redstart and the field flare. And every time I come across one that's not capitalized, I go, is that bird or a bug, or I don't know. Like they're so unfamiliar to me, but then I get it through context. But yeah, the birds are pretty cool. So it's neat to see what they observe year round so far. Nia says, I get it. It's hard. Most I can do is 2 at the same time. Usually I read sequentially. Yes, books. Maybe you guys can chime in. Do you read books 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 6 at a time, like me? 6 is a bit much. It's a bit much. Devin is here. Howdy, howdy. Richard says, I misheard that as missile thrush. Yes, it's mistle because it's a bird that likes mistletoe. Speaking of mistletoe in the season. So there we go. Hey, Devin. And Richard says, thanks, Vixen of Fiction. I'm about the same. Yeah, sequentially. Well, we all have our different preferences. As long as you're reading great books, I love it. Anita says, I read multiple books. Yeah, I figured that. Yeah. And Richard says, I just don't want to deprive either book of my finite attention, right? Okay, so does that mean that you also change the order at which you put on your socks and shoes because you don't want one or the other to feel bad? I'm just saying, I'm not the only one that does this. Jim is here from Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. Hello, Jim. He says there are a surprising number of grapevines around the city of Tbilisi, climbing up the concrete Soviet blocks, I think. Not exactly an orchard, but fruity. Interesting. Grapevines on the concrete. Well, they're colonizing new territory. Hopefully they'll reclaim it, right? Because I think Tbilisi, Georgia is known for winemaking, right? So it's just the countryside trying to come into the city. I respect that. Lana says, I can read several at the same time, but if they're in different genres. Yeah, that's a good point. Also in different formats. I've heard a lot of people say that they read one ebook, one audiobook, and one physical book because it's somehow accessing a different part of the brain to engage the different formats. And that makes sense to me. Right now, I'm reading an ebook. I'm reading the ebook by J.P. McLean, which I saw on Joe Compton's channel. It's called Bloodmark, and it's fantasy. It's like vampire, fated destiny fantasy. So that's pretty good. I read some of that last night when I got in from my holiday party and kept myself up late. So that's on ebook. And then I'm listening to Res Rules, hopefully finishing that up soon, and putting it on the November wrap up. Well, no, I guess I can't put it on the November wrap up this week, but that is an audiobook from, can you guess? Can you guess, anybody? Libro.fm. Yes. So yeah, I've got 6 physical books, 1 ebook, and 1 audio. That works, right? Catching up here. Blocks. Becky says, I used to read only 1 book at a time, but now it's just out of control and I read way too many books at once. Yeah. And it doesn't help when you just had a haul, right? I think I just saw on your channel. So now you've got more opportunities. Gem of Books says, I've got 4 and an audio on the go at the moment. It is hurting my brain a bit. Thank you. Clawy McClawface over here. It's hurting my brain a bit. I've overcommitted on buddy reads. See, we don't want to do that in the new year. John of Hey Y'all Listen Up was just talking about buddy reads and TBRs, and we were getting into it in the comments. But yes, I'm trying not to overcommit myself as well. Oh, Melissa at Fully Booked is here. Hello, Melissa. I read 2 at a time, maybe 3. I prefer to concentrate on just 1 or 2, though. Yeah. Yeah. There's like a back burner. It's like a stove. You've got 4 burners. 2 are the front that are more high powered, and 2 are the back that you're like, oh, I'll get back to that sometime. I get it. Jim says Georgia is the cradle of winemaking. Oh, good. Okay. I did have that right in my head. And Becky says that's usually me now. Physical, audiobook, and ebook. Yeah. Yeah. Different genres, different formats. I like it. I like it. Okay, so that is the current reads, and the rest of the TBR, let's see, is ones that I mean to read. I just picked up here. Oh. I can't do this in one hand. Okay, so the other buddy read is with Katie Reads and Rants, another great channel. I don't think she watches, but if she does, this is a reminder that we're going to be reading Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. I think this is Setterfield's latest. And it's kind of like the F6 Serpent by the cover and also the plot. It's a little bit of perhaps magical realism or a touch of the supernatural in historical fiction / fantasy. So we can't tell until we finish and discuss it. So this should be good. I'll probably take this down to California and read this in the second half of the month. You will hear about a book by Juliette Marillier that I read in November, but this is the sequel, Ravenflight, which I'm hoping to read in December. So I just picked it up from the library, so it's all shiny. I really liked her writing style of, it's coming of age stuff, but it's also like big psychological concepts that are still applicable to adults. So I really liked the first one. I thought I'd give the second one a go, even though I don't have a very good track record with sequels right now. It's okay. We keep going. And then the other required reading this month is, ta-da, for the Patreon book club, and it is The Library Book by Susan Orlean. So I've been talking about this for a while because I knew we were going to read this in December in like June. So I was like, this is a feel-good book, and I want to save it for the holiday read. So the four of us are going to be reading this and discussing it on December 19th. If you have a copy or can get an ebook copy or an audiobook copy and want to join in, that is in a couple weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. So let me know. I've got this in most descriptions, I think, down in the box if you're interested. And you can join our Patreon book club. So I'm very excited. This is nonfiction that is true crime, that is a love letter to libraries. That's how it's billed, and like all those things except the true crime are really my bag. So I'm very excited about this, and I hope it doesn't disappoint. So yeah, so that is what I've been working on. When I went into the library, I also had the chance to get another book that I picked up because, so if you don't know, I volunteer with A Mighty Blaze, which is a nonprofit collective of like 35 different authors and aspiring authors who are doing interviews with authors to get their books out there, to give them a little recognition when the era of the book tour is over because of the pandemic, and we all need a little boost and want to talk about good books. So I just heard Mina Seçkin, who is a Turkish-American name, author. Never heard of her before, but her debut just came out, The Four Humors, and it sounds really good. It's set in 2014 Istanbul and I think some other locations, but it's about a lot of things. Here, let me read the blurb, or like a little bit of it. It's 20-year-old Sibel. She's caring for her grandmother in Istanbul and studying for the MCAT. She finds herself watching Turkish soap operas and self-diagnosing her own possible chronic illness with the Four Humors theory of ancient medicine. So it's a little bit of cross-cultural analysis as well as the protests in Turkey that were happening at that time. So like political culture, and also reflecting on this historical thing, but like Galen's Four Humors, but also modern medicine and how they interact and how we think about health and wellness. And so I think this will be really good. And I might take this one down with me to California, even though it's a library book, because I want to. So there we go. So that is the December TBR, as well as, oh, did I get lost? No, I just missed one. Gemma Book says, Jim, that's so cool. Vertical farming is getting really popular. Oh, yeah, the grapes on the concrete blocks. I wonder if anyone's collecting it. Here in Portland, the case is pretty sad, where people have fruit trees that just drop their fruit and they rot on the sidewalk because no one's taking care of it or harvesting or foraging. And while there are apps and organizations that glean through speaking of scythe, that glean through the city to sort of coordinate getting food to people who need it. There's obviously, they don't get everything. And so I go by and I'll try to take things every once in a while, but I don't want to get on the bad side of the homeowner. So like, I don't want to take things from the trees, but then by the time there's like 40 pounds of apples on the ground, it's like rotting and you can smell. So anyway, yes, gleaning applications for the win. All right, so what else do I have to cover today? If you've gotten to this point, like, subscribe to the channel, please. I love to see happy faces and great books, and let me know what you're reading. And then I was just going to drop the coming attractions. So I've got a banner for this too, because I'm fancy like that. So coming attractions later this week, I've got my November wrap up. I'm defaulting to 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I don't know if that's good for people on weekdays or what, but there you go. And the other one is Friday. This is not at 11 a.m. Pacific time because we need to get down with our bad selves for this one. I saw someone who did a 90s book tag. No, a 90s kid book tag. That's right. And I am taking the Literary Phoenix's original tag, and I'm inviting a few author tuber friends who are also 90s kids to do this tag with me. And so we're going to be joshing with each other on Friday evening. That's this Friday, December 10th, 10/12, at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it should be a lot of fun. So that is in the chat as well. And then finally, for coming attractions, we've got, let's see, who can predict how to pronounce this? Jólabókaflóð PDX. So Jólabókaflóð stands for Yule Book Flood in Icelandic. It is the Christmas tradition of exchanging books that I and Elizabeth Mitchell have turned into a Portland Indie Book Fair. And the PDX is just the airport code for Portland, in case you're unfamiliar. And so this is our 4th year doing this. We had 2 years in Southwest, 1 year online, and now we're back in Southeast. The venue is Urbanite PDX, which is a gorgeous warehouse of indie makers. We're pairing up with the Second Sunday Flea Market. We have all this stuff that's going to be fun on site, including drinking chocolate and lots of books, basically. But if you're interested in discovering new indie authors and, you know, you've watched author interviews here on YouTube, another way to support indie authors is to cruise on over to that Instagram link that I put in, because we're having some website problems with the website today. It usually goes away in 2 hours, but I didn't want to lead you to a dead site. So I just put the Instagram there, and all the authors are featured. You can check out their books, and they've got buy links, and buy an indie author's book today because you will make someone's day. I'm sure of it. So yeah, that's my little plea for Jólabókaflóð PDX, and either come in person if you're in the area near Portland, or check out the authors on our social media and pick an indie author to support. No matter your format, no matter your genre, there's something for everyone. That's my December plug. And I think that's everything. Any questions, class? Post office book, karaoke invitation, coming attractions, past collaborations. Like and subscribe. I think that's everything. Do you guys have any questions on the books that I went over? There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10. There's 10 physical books here. I'm still reading Res Rules by Clarence Louis. I'm still reading Bloodmark by J.P. McLean. And I think that's it. I mean, there's so many books. Melissa saying fun about the 90s kid tag. Yes, it should be fun. And Richard said, sorry, I was outlining while listening. Okay, well, you and Nia are multitaskers extraordinaire. Nightmare Tenant by Richard Holiday is quite good, I've heard. And he's got a little halo to prove it. So yeah, check out Richard's channel. He's got books. And I love the background that you have, Richard. When I see you on live streams, you've got your bookcase like this one, but it's got your books and other AuthorTube friends' books facing out very professionally, I might add. I instead have I guess I do have my books on there sideways, but I have a collage that I made last year of all the stamps and postmarks and little holiday things that I sent, because I send Christmas cards, and it just made me happy looking at it. All these things from New York, Sacramento, North Texas, Portland, Capital District, Santa Barbara, Philadelphia, like just all the love that's flowing around the world. So hopefully you guys have something like that as well to help you power through the holidays with joy in your heart. Richard says, I'm glad you like the Indie Book Wall of Fame. Excellent. Very cool. I love that name. Gem of Books. Yola Boca Float sounds amazing. I'll check out the link. Very cool. We love our indie authors here in Portland very much. Richard's background is great, says Nia. Yep. Richard says, I like the get shit done. Thank you. Yeah, depending on what the theme of the daily live stream is, I will push it to the side. It's on one of those like things like that, so I'll scooch it over so it's hidden, but it's hidden. It's hidden. And then the other thing is it's a calendar page that I have up there that says all great changes are preceded by chaos, because that's a good reminder when you're feeling a little twisty-turny, topsy-turvy, and you're like, when am I ever going to finish this project? Which some of us might have experienced lately. I don't know. All great changes are preceded by chaos. So keep the faith. Becky at Teacup, the storyteller, says, love the collage. Thank you. Gemma Books needs to put the kids to bed, so catch you soon. Thanks for coming by. And I'll just do this for the sign off. I was trying to think of a way to sign off where I would have like the 20-second countdown, because after your live stream ends, there's like the end screen. So maybe I'll just do this, say thank you, sign up for karaoke, you know you want to, and have a great holiday, everyone. Thanks for coming by, and happy reading. Yeah, that sounds good.